to the US and the heatwave that's hitting some parts of the country. And many in the media act like this is all completely new, even though we've seen these types of heat waves before, of course, long before global warming was a thing. I took this issue up with Kristin Tate, who's escaped Houston in Texas and is up in the northeast away from the hot weather.
Yes, it is so bad, the heat wave that has gripped essentially the entire bottom half of the country and much of the West. My hometown, Houston, it's like 105 degrees there during the day. So I've escaped to New England, where I'm from, New Hampshire. I'm by a lake. But predictably, Chris, this heat wave has prompted the political class to tell us that this is all because of climate change, and we just need to fund a bunch of green energy companies and funnel our tax dollars, to more of these green initiatives. So, every weather event now is seen as a political opportunity for these political hacks.
Yeah, the media alarmism is extreme itself. We see that in Australia whenever there are extreme weather events. And of course, you've had heat waves like this before. But have a look at some of the way the media is reporting this in the States.
Angie, as you mentioned, the human body simply can't handle these levels of heat and will go into heat stress. But with much of the country and the world experiencing these record temps, at what point do certain areas just simply become uninhabitable for humans?
Yeah, Joe, that's a great question. That point actually probably closer than what you think. A United Nations report released late last year says that much of the South, including areas in Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, and California, will be less suitable for humans to live in by 2070, just less than 50 years from now.
There you go, Kristin. You're going to have to stay in New Hampshire because Texas, your hometown of Texas, is going to be uninhabitable.
These hacks are hilarious. Democrats, they just love pushing this climate change hysteria because it allows them to funnel more federal subsidies to green energy companies, and then much of that money ends up back in Democrats' pockets in the form of political donations and contributions. A couple years ago, when Pete Buttigieg had an SUV with his handlers drive him a couple of blocks from the White House, the handlers then took a bike out of the trunk of the SUV so that Pete Buttigieg could ride the bike to the White House for a fake photo op. These people do not believe in the garbage that they are telling us all. It's just laughable.
What a coincidence. I showed that footage here last week because a Spanish climate minister has pulled a similar stunt last week in Spain. Look, when it comes to the politics of climate change and energy policy, it is ridiculously similar throughout the Western liberal democracies. And I noticed Kamala Harris, the vice president, when she's been talking about the latest heat wave, instead of referring to records or to the science, she refers to the media alarmism. The media hyperventilation proves her political point. Have a look.
Taking on one of the most urgent matters of our time, this climate crisis. So every day, all across our nation, we feel and see the impact of the climate crisis. I mean, if you watch the morning news, it will be the lead story. It's been every day for the last couple of weeks. It is the lead story. I think we finally, at least in our progress, come to the point that most people can no longer deny it because it is so obvious.
It must be dangerous global warming, Kristin, because it's leading all the news bulletins.
Right. It's just become so predictable and vapid. It used to be called global warming. Remember that? And then when it wasn't so hot anymore, they changed it to climate change. And last year we had some bad droughts, and they were saying that was really bad. That was a climate crisis. Now this year up in New England, we've had a ton of rain. Vermont is, getting these bad rainstorms. That's part of the climate crisis. They've created this massive umbrella of climate crisis so that literally anything that happens with the weather can be filed under that umbrella and, make a panic. But yeah, these hacks like Kamala Harris, no one really listens to them. It's very predictable.